Being a Pokemon fan has been an emotional roller coaster lately. Have I said this already? Maybe I have. It's hard to keep track of at this point. You play Pokemon Legends Arceus, you think it was pretty damn good, and just recovering from it and processing what you just played, boom. For some reason, they announced the next main game to be released this year. They couldn't even wait 12 months in between major releases. There's no way Scarlet and Violet are gonna be ready by then. And we were right about that. But then you play it, and it's really good, like easy top 5 Pokemon game potential if it wasn't so unpolished. Playing a game that you like should make you want to go around and tell people, hey, I liked this game, please play it, right? Well, 99% of the time, yes. But Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are somehow the less than 1% time that after playing a fun game that you enjoyed, it doesn't make you want to go tell people to play it. It makes you depressed that it sold 10 million copies during launch weekend. This game is the most bizarre thing. This should be one of the best games in the series, but it looks like an asset flip and performs worse than an N64 game. I don't even need to explain all the technical issues, just show it. Pokemon materialize like 3 feet in front of you, there's this weird culling flickering in the distance, windmills run at like 3 FPS from a reasonable distance away. The terrain is filled with obviously repeating textures. The battle camera often clips into the terrain. It constantly plays in slow motion. And that's before we get into all the animation glitches and low production values in general. The game should not have been released like this. It probably needed an extra year to polish everything up. And yet this game is simultaneously like a really good game. Not even in the sense of it's a good Pokemon game, just it's a really good game. After an annoyingly long tutorial, maybe like an hour and a half, the game marks every main objective on the map and tells you to just go. You can do the 8 gyms, 5 team starter bases, and 5 titans in just about any order you want. The only exceptions are the water titans since you need surf for it, so you need to clear 3 of the 5 titans first. And I think you need the high jump to get to the Psychic Gym, although I could be wrong about that. But those are the only real exceptions that I know of. I wasn't keeping up with the game during pre-release or from leaks or anything, so I was shocked when I saw this. I was thinking the whole time, no, this is too good to be true. There's gotta be a catch. There is no catch. They've done the very thing we've been begging for decades. This is a game where you just wander around and do gyms and whatnot in any order and build up a team along the way. None of them scale to how many you've beaten though. The intended first ones are still gonna be low level, and the intended last ones are still gonna be higher level. But if you want to do the ice gym first, who are we to stop you? Unfortunately, I'm bad at video games, so I didn't make much use of this, but a lot of fights consistently took me like 3 or 4 tries, which is really refreshing. Quite frankly, I had no business winning the Fairy Star base. It's fun to explore this place too. You can easily just go from point A to point B, but you end up missing a lot along the way. The sheer amount of Pokemon that you can find is insane, especially right at the beginning. They just bombard you with options all the time. If you're not sure what Pokemon to use, you might as well start trying them out. And with how high level a lot of encounters are, it's really easy to swap out party members. I didn't have much to deal with fighting types, so instead of grinding to hell and back to beat the Fighting Star base, I just caught a bunch of new Pokemon and used those instead. No grind required. You could actually play this game like SMT and build a team specifically designed to kill one boss. It's awesome. Plus, it's kind of fun to just wander around, encouraging you to actually take your time and find stuff. Your dragon motorcycle dog thing makes traversing Paldea stupidly easy, and it feels like your reward for defeating Titans and helping Orban nurse his dog back to health. Yes, that's the actual plot of this questline. It's amazing. There was one time where I went to go fight the Poison Star base, but I took a wrong turn, climbed up a mountain, and accidentally ended up at the Ice Gym instead. I was completely lost. I had no idea where I was despite having GPS, and I had fun being lost. I wanted to see where this took me. It's crazy how much of a 180 the structure of these games have taken all of a sudden. Sword and Shield were the most linear games in the series, but Scarlet and Violet are the most non-linear. This game almost feels like they were trying to directly address the problem Sword and Shield had. Pokemon actually trying to address problems directly. I don't know what alternate universe I woke up in, but it's kind of sweet, not gonna lie. I also really like some of the new Pokemon designs. The starters just look cool. You got a grass cat magician looking dude, a fire alligator that also has a bird ghost helping him out, and a dancer peacock thing. This one terrifies me, actually. I don't like it. This is why I look up the starter evolutions before I make my decision. I was gonna pick Quaxley, but the Magician Cat seems kinda cool. Also, they all have insanely powerful signature moves. Meowscarada has a grass-type slash that never misses and always crits. Skeleturge gets an 80 power fire move that always raises your special attack, and Quaquavel gets a speed-boosting waterfall. I don't know why they thought any of them were a good idea, let alone all of them. It also feels like they just had a checklist of animals they hadn't made a Pokemon of before. Flamingo? Dung Beetle? Dolphin? Minecraft? We've got it all now. I didn't expect a generic-ass Flamingo to be so good, but Flamingo ended up being a really good glass cannon, especially once I got Close Combat and Brave Bird. Yeah, this thing's port fighting for some reason. My favorite new Pokemon's definitely Scarlet, though. Like, look at this dude. I played Violet not because of Giga Chad, Professor Man, or Jet Motorcycle Dragon, but because of edgy Fire Ghost Gallade. It's incredible, and the main reason why I didn't choose Fuecoco. I really like Skeletor, but Cerulege is superior, and that is fact. It and Armarouge also look like net navies. Bonus. Play Mega Man Battle Network. I just wish it didn't have a really stupid evolution requirement. You need to talk to some random guy in some otherwise worthless town and give him 10 Sinistee fragments or whatever to get the evolution item. And Sinistee is only easily found in the southwest corner of the map, nowhere near where this is. And it's only found at night, and there's no way to control time despite it no longer going off real time, even though Legends already solved this, and putting a clock or a bench at the Pokemon Center doesn't seem too hard to implement. It's doable, but annoying and kind of obtuse, especially since there's no indication that what he gives you is actually important. The Scarlet version for Armarouge isn't quite as bad, since it needs Bronzor fragments instead, but it's still a weird place to put such a useful item. Design-wise, I also really like Toadstool. It's a tentacle, but as a mushroom with legs. It's just an earthbound enemy. It's amazing. Or how Mousehold is a family of 3 or 4 mice. That's just one entity, and its pre-evolution is 2 mice without children. It's so stupid, but perfect. I also like the Common Rider-looking Mantis thing, too. That's cool. I almost used one, but I already had a Dark type with Mouscarada, so yeah. But what I was really annoyed that I couldn't really use was Tatsugiri. It's just a fish walking around on land, and it's also a dragon type for some reason. If I didn't already have the ice dragon thing and water psychic knife fish thing, I would have used one without a second thought. We love and respect Tatsugiri in this house. I'm also sad I missed out on Tinkaton. It's just a little gremlin beating everything up with a giant hammer. I aspire to be like this. I didn't look up the new Pokemon other than the starters before playing, so it was actually pretty fun discovering all the new ones. Actually, catching Pokemon isn't nearly as fun, though. In Legends, you could throw balls at wild Pokemon without having to fight them at all, which made it a lot faster. But there's no throwing mechanics in Violet, so you have to battle each Pokemon individually to catch them again. Everything was so quick in that game that catching Pokemon finally felt fun, but now it's a chore again. You can also run over small-ass Pokemon that you can't see and get into fights you don't want, so that's annoying too. While I'm talking about issues of the game that doesn't involve the characters struggling to exist in their own reality, Paldea really needed more landmarks. If it wasn't for the map, a lot of the areas looked really generic, and it can be kind of hard to figure out where you are sometimes. There is this giant crater in the middle of the region, but it's pretty hard to gauge where you are in relation to it. The map makes everything way easier, but if you want to get lost and just explore, you can't really use your environment to figure out where you are. The towns aren't very interesting either. They all just kind of exist. There's nothing to really do in them. They all look the same. I also thought the soundtrack was a bit weak overall. It's good music, don't get me wrong, but it mostly just feels like noise, save for like 5 or 6 tracks. Not much got stuck in my head like in previous games. Also, they deadass had the budget for an Ed Sheeran song in the credits, but not voice acting. What? There's some scenes that feel so awkward without it. Especially the part with the gym leader that's supposed to be a rapper. Like, there is a mobile game where every character is voice acted. There's already a voice cast that they can use. Why is this still a thing? But as of right now, those are my only real complaints with the game. I'm shocked that I liked Violet that much. If it wasn't for all of the obvious technical issues that should have been ironed out before release, it would easily be a top 5 favorite Pokemon game for me. I'm not sure if I would like it more than Platinum, but I would definitely still like Emerald and Gen 5 more. Mainly because I'm biased. You know, it's almost like not liking Sword and Shield has nothing to do with nostalgia, and I just thought it was a mediocre game. But those technical issues really shouldn't be there. Like, Violet should be great, but I shouldn't need to put a planet-sized asterisk on top of a game that I had fun playing. If they fix all this stuff, good. But seeing how this game already sold 10 million copies, I don't see that happening. They don't really have a reason to. They did just fix a few minor bugs, but I think we can all agree that making the Elite Four music work right is easier than making the game run better. I want to believe they'll actually fix most of the issues, but I'm not holding my breath. Realistically speaking, they probably already have to work on either the DLC or the next game. Probably both. I don't see why Legends couldn't have released Holiday 2022 and Scarlet and Violet released Holiday next year. It would have given them enough time for actual polish, so these technical issues were never an issue at all. Pokemon's never going to be some id Software technical masterpiece or anything. That's a bit unreasonable. But when a game costs $60, I kinda expect it to be competently made, or at least doesn't feel cheap. I'm sure plenty of good games are absolute disasters under the hood, but if I can't tell when playing, then that shouldn't matter. It's just that Scarlet and Violet's code is clearly held together with gum and Cheetos. You could say it's impressive that this thing works at all given the garbage engine they have to work with. In that sense, Violet is a technical marvel. But we shouldn't be impressed by a Mona Lisa made with different colors of glue. It should have just been made with paint. Pokemon was never overly ambitious, aside from a few exceptions. So to see Violet and Legends actually pushing series boundaries and trying something new is a very good thing. It's obvious that Game Freak is trying their hardest to make something great here. They knew what they wanted this game to be. It's stupidly evident down to the DNA of its design, and they're probably embarrassed that it has to be in this state. Violet is basically the game we've been asking for years, but a bunch of rich guys in charge didn't give them the time and manpower to finish it. Which is just sad given how many copies these games are guaranteed to sell at this point. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet were a great time despite everything. I walked away from a Pokemon game actually satisfied and looking forward to the next playthrough. I miss that feeling a lot. But no flagship $60 game should be in this state. Pokemon's no exception. Pokemon should be better. Pokemon needs to be better. This isn't just one game with low production values. This is the third game on Switch like this. If the next game is still like this, I don't think these games will ever get better.